Baby, founder and CEO of Coast Creative, and I'm sitting here in the wildly successful Locust Point tap room of the Diamondback Brewing Company with two of its founders, Francis Smith and Tom Foster. So guys, thanks so much for sitting down with me, and thanks for pouring me a beer, an extra work perk for today. We're just here to learn about how you guys came to found the company and your journey. So whichever one of you wants to go first, I'd love to hear how you guys met and how the idea of bringing beer to Baltimore in such a great location came to be.
I would say, even going all the way back, off to how we met, myself, Tom, and Colin, the other founder, all have known each other for ages. I think myself and Tom met each other probably when we were around 10, first grade. I think we had second grade class together, and then he moved on to another school. And Colin I knew since running around at our local pool, hanging out on summer days. He was a wild kid back then, and I don't think too much has changed since. But it's cool that we knew each other, and we really, I would say we had times where we were relative friends, but never were really great friends until late high school. I think we all really started to become good friends, and myself and Tom ended up going to University of Maryland together. So that's kind of where we actually got introduced to beer, and we knew Colin was an energetic guy and thought he would be a great addition to the team. So we started home brewing at University of Maryland back in Tom's, Harvard Roadhouse, I think? 2013. It was all on a stovetop. We were doing 5-gallon batches, moving pots and pans around as we could do it. Really, any chance that we got, we'd start home brewing. And it was a perfect experiment because being 21-year-olds in college, we had a very accepting audience base no matter what products we were putting out. And so it was fun. We put out some good beers, we put out a lot of not very good beers, but it was a learning experience. And that passion really carried on for us. We saw it as an opportunity, and I think we're very entrepreneurial guys to begin with, all three of us. So when we had the combination of this entrepreneurial spirit and this passion, it just took over and really pushed us into taking a non-conventional path.
So what was it then? I mean, was there a moment where the three of you were sitting around and you just had this amazing idea to go into business for yourselves, or how did that come to be?
I think it's like we always describe it kind of as like an evolving kind of process. Like you have this idea that you want to start a business, and it starts as just an idea, and it's just something you guys kick around. It's something that you daydream about while you're in class, and it's just a bunch of baby steps kind of till you get to the end goal, but you don't even realize you're kind of getting there as you're doing it. And I think for us, it was just kind of tackling one thing at a time. It was like, why don't we start a brewery? Okay, sounds good. What do we need to do? Well, we need to brew beer, first of all. So it's like, okay, let's create some good recipes, and then let's try and raise some money, and then let's find a space, and so on and so forth. And you're kind of here after a while, and it's not until you really take a step back and look at it that you see how far you've really come.
So let's get down to it. So, I mean, you're three college guys looking to start a business. I mean, are you all trust fund babies, or how did you first start funding this venture?
We had the idea and the ambition coming out of college, but realized it wasn't possible, and I think still had a lot to learn ourselves. So we all went out and had corporate jobs for about a year to 2 years. Myself, I worked at Whiting Turner. Tom worked at real estate. And then Colin, actually, he was the smart one. He was out in Jackson Hole working at a ski lift. So having fun out there, but saving some money. And we completely self-funded ourselves to begin with. And realizing, I think we played around with a lot of ideas. We wanted to go out and start a brewery, but realized it wasn't possible, and saw a lot of people contract brewing. And so we went out there, we found a local partner in Eastern Shore Brewing Company and started brewing our first batch in October. I think their first batch cost like $10,000, and I think we had $12,000 in the bank. So it was a constant chasing as we were going through it. We were constantly putting more money into the company as we grew for each step and growing with it. And so following Eastern Shore, we went on to Beltway Brewing Company. And the product that we were putting out was selling, we were doing well, we were pushing it hard. But at that time, we still were learning about brewing and learning about the industry and putting out what we probably wouldn't even drink at this point, but at that time we considered it's a mediocre product in the market. And we were just learning a lot from the experience. We were young, naive millennials looking to get out there, thinking it would be an easy experience, and really just kept getting pulled along by the grunt work and by constant pursuit and unwillingness to fail.
Yeah, and I mean, like, unfortunately, the nature of starting a business like that is a lot of things are what we used to call janky, just like literally held together by duct tape. Like we had a warehouse next to a strip club that we built a cold box out of like plywood in Curtis Bay, Maryland. So like, you know, it's not ideal.
People still show up there nowadays. They'll show up here afterwards and be like, I found your location in Google Maps.
Run.
You'll accept dollar bills.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, if you ask me when the business started, a lot of times I like to just say when we opened the doors here, because like it was a completely different business back then, and it was honestly, like Francis said, kind of more of like a lesson in learning the ropes than really running a business, I think. And like the business we have now is just night and day from what we were doing back then.
And that's kind of what our plan was. We went out contract brewing, not expecting to make fistfuls of money, expecting just to slowly build and build. And we unfortunately were losing fistfuls of money, or at least it seemed like it at that time, but it was all a pathway to getting here. It was a way to build a reputation and to get our own location where we could truly build an identity. And so that's really something I would say, looking back on it, it's one of those things Tom likes to say he completely forgets about it. It doesn't exist. I think me and Colin have the attitude where, yeah, we're not proud of it, but it got us here. So it was a way to do it, and it's part of our history now.